Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MtG Traders. My name is Taryn, and this is Black White Knights for Dominaria Standard. So this is a list that I've been tooling with Dominaria since it came out, or has been previewed, I guess, and I finally got a build with you today, so let's move on over to the actual deck list here. I, again, swapped this up, kind of mixed it up again as far as the layout goes, because I wanted to make sure that we actually had a nice big layout so we can just see all the cards. I thought, like, you know, the cards on the side and then the slideshow I had going, it just kind of defeated the purpose because they're on the screen at the same time, like doubling up, so we're just going to do it this way, so it's a lot easier for everybody, and a lot easier on me on editing. So, first up we have Dauntless Bodyguard, a 1-mana 2/1 human knight. As Dauntless Bodyguard enters a battlefield, choose another creature you control. Sacrifice Dauntless Bodyguard. The chosen creature gains indestructible until end of turn. So this is very good for our legendary creatures and our Metallica Marshal that we have in our list as well as Metallica Mimic. We'll talk about those in just a minute. But Dauntless Bodyguard is a great way for us to have like onboard protection for any of our creatures, and that is nice to have. Next up here we have Knight of Grace here, a 2-mana 2/2 first strike human knight with Hexproof from black. Very good against like Fatal Push, very good against the cast down, that kind of stuff. And Knight of Grace gets +1/+0 as long as any player controls a black permanent. So that's very good because we do have some black permanents on our side of the field as well, just like Knight of Malice here, a 2-mana 2/2 human knight with first strike and Hexproof from white. So again, that's good against you know, cast outs, seal away, things like that. It also gets +1/+0 as long as any player controls a white permanent, and because we have more white permanents than we do black permanents, this is going to be probably a 3/2 first striker more often than not, coming in on turn 2 with Dauntless Bodyguard on the battlefield, or turn 3 with like another knight or Metallica Mimic, or not a Metallica Mimic, but a Metallica Marshal, stuff like that. Moving on to the the third 2-drop in the format here, another 4 of. It is a Metallica Mimic, 2-mana 2/1 artifact creature shapeshifter, and of course when it enters the battlefield we choose a creature type. We'll choose knight, or human, I guess you could do that too. And each other creature of the chosen type entering the battlefield gets an additional +1/+1 counter on it. So Knight of Malice gets, it becomes a 3/3. It can actually become a 4/3, which is ridiculous if we have another white permanent on the battlefield. Same thing with Knight of Grace, becomes a 4/3 if we have Knight of Malice or another black permanent on the battlefield. Moving on, we have Metallica Marshal, another card for us that kind of helps us pump our board, but one of the most difficult ones to cast because it is triple white mana, and that is something you want to definitely keep in mind when you have this in your opening hand. A 3-mana 3/3 human knight. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. It doesn't mean knights, it's just other creatures. And that's basically Angel of Invention's ability here, just on a 3/3. This is actually quite good, and I feel like almost better than Angel of Invention because it is a 3/3 just coming on board, pumping our entire board for 3 mana. Moving on to our other 3-drop here, we have Beneath the Capuchin Paragon, a 3-mana 2/2 legendary creature, human knight, first strike, vigilance, and lifelink. All those are very relevant, and aura and equipment spells you cast cost 1 colorless less to cast. We're only really having this in here for the first strike, vigilance, lifelink, and the fact that it's a knight and can come in as a 3/3 or a 4/4 thanks to the Marshal and the Mimic, or stacked Mimics, things like that. So that's really the only reason it's in here. The first strike, vigilance, lifelink is still very, very relevant, especially against like really difficult board states to get a pass or get through on our opponent's side of the field. And our top end bomb here for us is Ariel, Knight of Windgrace. Is that how you spell it? Ariel? Ariel. That might be how you pronounce it. A 4-mana 4/4 legendary creature, human knight with vigilance. We can pay 1 white, or pay 3 and 1 white, or pay 2 and 1 white. There we go. Pay 2 and 1 white. I'm crazy. You can tap it, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. That's very good. We can also pay black and tap it. And tap X untapped knights you control. Destroy target creature with power X or less. So this is a great way to pump out tokens for us. This is a great way to destroy creatures on turn 2 if we have a lot of knights already on the battlefield. Knight of Windgrace is just a very good card overall because it's also just a 4-mana 4/4 with vigilance. That's good by itself, even if we don't use the other abilities, because it can come in as a 5/5 or even a 6/6 thanks to the Mimic or Marshal. So that is all the actual creatures in the deck here. We have quite a few in total. Lots of 4-ofs and a couple 2-ofs as well. Let's move on to our spells on the main board here. We have, of course, Seal Away, one of the best white removal spells right now in the format. Seal Away is a 2-mana enchantment with flash. When it enters the battlefield, exile target tapped creature and opponent controls until Seal Away leaves the battlefield. So in early game, you know, Glint-Sleeve Siphoner, in early game, like something we don't want to deal with, or even a tapped in attacking like Scarab God, Seal Away is going to deal with it for just 2 mana. So if they have a Censor in hand and we have 3 mana, this is going to be a great card for us in the early game to shut down any kind of strategy they have. Moving on to even more value for us in the Knight deck, we have 4 of History of Benalia, a 3-mana enchantment saga. It's a Chapter 1, 2, and 3. Chapter 1 and 2 create a 2/2 white knight creature with token with vigilance, which is awesome. And Chapter 3, knights you control get +2/+1 until end of turn. So a lot of our creatures actually have first strike, vigilance, Vigilance, Lifelink, all that fun stuff. Getting +2/+1 on turn 3 after making 2 more 2/2s is just backbreaking, especially early in the game against an opponent who may not have a completely developed board. Another card that helps us out as well to hopefully get, that Ascend, thanks to History of Metallica, is Arabian Destiny here, a 3-mana enchantment with Ascend, and of course that means if you control 10 or more permanents, you get the City's Blessing until the rest of the game. And when it enters the battlefield, we choose a creature type. We're going to choose Knights, or even humans if we want to, but probably Knight because of the tokens here. Creatures you control, the chosen type, get +1/+1 for as long as you have the City's Blessing. They also have Vigilance, so they get +1/+1 if we just play this out, but they also get Vigilance if we have the City's Blessing. This card is amazing. This card is very powerful, and of course gives everything Vigilance, which means that we can attack and block. That's great too. Moving on here to some more non-permanent removal, we have 3 cast out in here. A 4-mana enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent until cast out leaves the battlefield, and of course cycling for 1 white mana. Cast out is basically just the better seal away for 4 mana instead of 2, capturing any kind of a planeswalker, any kind of hard to deal with artifact, or any kind of hard to deal with enchantment that we don't want going off on our opponent's side of the field. And of course we have 2 of Vraska's Contempt here because Scarab God still exists, and also Teferi and all these new planeswalkers are coming into the fold here. A 4-mana instant, exile target creature or planeswalker, you gain 2 life. So the actual life gain here isn't that amazing, but it is relevant enough that it is worth having on the card here. So I like Vraska's Contempt as well. So let's move on to the land base here. That is all the spells, instances, enchantments, all that kind of fun stuff. Going on to the lands here, we have 7 of each, plains and swamp. I do think in retrospect we probably want to put more plains in here than we want swamps. So I think maybe taking out 2 swamps and putting in more plains is more important for us, especially on the Martial as well as the History of Benalia, those kind of things. So if you definitely want to tweak the mana base, I highly encourage it, because with more testing, it comes with more tweaks to the mana base. Then 4 Isolated Chapel, 4 Concealed Courtyard, and 1 Field of Ruin, of course, for those any kind of flipped Legion's Landing, Search for Azcanta, that kind of stuff. But that is it for the actual main board in the full 60. Let's go to the sideboard here and see what we can do in Game 2. Starting with, of course, 2 Scavenger Grounds. So Godfarer's Gift is still a big deal right now in standard meta, and Scavenger Grounds is going to be coming in from Game 1 or into Game 2. Have it to add colors to your mana pool, or pay to sacrifice the digit or itself, and exile all cards from all graveyards. So since we don't have any kind of graveyard recursion, this card is not going to damage us at all, but it will damage a Scarab God playset, it will damage a Godfarer's Gift playset, anything with Eternalize and Bomb, that kind of fun stuff. Next up we have Battle of the Bridge. So against those mono-green rampy decks, we have a lot of like Ronas the Indomitable, those kind of things, indestructible creatures. We want to have a way to remove them, and not necessarily use like Yahini's Expertise, because that won't kill a Ronas. Battle of the Bridge, pay 6 mana basically with Improvise, if we can do that as well, but we don't have anything except the Metallic Mimics. Target creature gets -X until end of turn. You gain X life as well, so it's actually very, very good if we get to, kill a Ronas the Indomitable with this card. Kill it, then we also gain 5 life. That's pretty impressive to me. Moving on to, against the control matchup, we have 4 Duress here against Approach strategy, a Esper control strategy, or even just a Jeskai control strategy. 1 mana sorcery, look at opponent's hand, you choose a non-creature, non-land card from it, that player discards that card. That means turn 1 we want to go for Approach, turn 1 we want to go for Search for Azcanta, or a control spell like a Censor, a Count, like a Disallow, a Negate, anything like that that we think is going to slow us down. We're going to use Duress in the game 2. Another 3 here, we have a Fatal Push, a 1-mana instant, destroy target creature if it has converted mana cost 2 or less. This is against like the mono-red aggro strategies. This is against another Knight strategy, or perhaps even another like a Simic strategy, like a Simic Merfolk strategy, stuff like that. It also has Revoldo, destroy that creature if it has converted mana cost 4 or less. Instead, if a opponent you controlled left the battlefield this turn. So if you had something die this turn, or if you use Field of Ruin or Scavenger Grounds this turn, then we can actually kill something with converted mana cost 4 or less, which is very, very good for just 1 mana. And again, since Godfarer's Gift is still kind of important right now, we have Forsake the Worldly, a 3-mana instant, exile target artifact or enchantment, and cycling for 2 colorless mana. So this is also a good card for us because it can help get rid of a card that goes to the graveyard like a Godfarer's Gift, can help get rid of anything else that we don't like in the battlefield as well, like an enchantment like a, Anointed Procession or another History of Benalia, something like that on our opponent's side of the field. And of course, it's an instant speed removal, so for 3 mana, it's not too terrible. And the last 2 cards in here against a really aggressive opponent is 2 Settle the Wreckage, a 4-mana instant, exile all attacking creatures target player controls. Then that player searches his or her library for that many basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, then they shuffle his or her library. So like this card a lot, especially for a nice aggro matchup like a mono-red matchup. If they're swinging in with Hazarets, we want to bring in Settle the Wreckage in game 2 and hopefully exile it when they attack in for that game-winning point. But that is all the cards in the actual sideboard, as well as the main board. Let's go to the full layout here. On MTG Traders, is coming to about 130 tickets, and in paper, if you want to build this, is coming to about 147 bucks in total. Of course, the big points for like prices here is coming to Vraska's Contempt, Metallica Mimic being at $12 right now. Concealed Courtyard is definitely jumping up right now thanks to all the interest in this kind of deck list. History of Benalia is also quite expensive as well. Scavenger Grounds and Settle the Wreckage. Those are all the kind of pricey cards in the actual pool here. So if you want to kind of board out and kind of do something a little bit different, you can definitely do that. But I do think these cards are absolutely necessary for a Black-White Knights deck to work. But that is going to wrap it up for this video today, guys. I do hope you liked the deck. Let me know if you have any suggestions for it. Leave them in the comments down below. Like it if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel because there are definitely more standard deck techs coming all this week. And if you want to see a new deck tech that I haven't covered just yet, make sure to leave a comment down below and let me know. But that's going to do it for this video today, guys. I love y'all, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.